I'm looking daily for work because I'm
Yeah.
63 and I'm
Yeah.
on the street. I'm not eating. I'm a diabetic. I've already lost a couple of toenails now.
I
So
see.
because I'm sleeping on concrete. It hurts,
That is, yes,
and nobody
it's a
cares.
terrible situation.
The city is in turmoil right now behind Tyre Nichols' beating. It wasn't necessary, but it was a lot of things going on behind that. These police are just like street gangs that beat him. They had already had it in mind to do this because this guy was dating one of the police officers' baby mama. Because if not, one of those officers should have said, "This is enough.
Yeah.
We've done enough. This is enough. Leave him alone." But they
'Cause,
didn't.
yeah,
They meant.
I could barely watch the video, man. That was brutal.
I teared up behind it.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
saw the video.
63, and
Okay.
they did that purposely.
Yeah.
Their intentions were to kill him, and they did so. So many things are going on in this city. You have homeless people such as myself that they will not take one of these empty buildings to try to put people in because they can get somewhere to lay their heads. Instead, they charge $7 a night for shelter here.
$7 a night.
$7 a night. And as you can see how I look, I had to sleep on concrete last night because I didn't have $7 enough to get nothing.
Did you used to be employed? Like,
Yes, I used to work for Delta Airlines 22 years. My wife was a school principal. She died 9 months ago.
I'm so sorry for your
and
loss.
IRS has a hold on everything that I own. So I have, right now, I'm waiting to get this resolved so I'm able to move back into my properties. But in the meantime, people in this city are still skin color. They're going by skin color. If you're black and white, and then you got the blacks killing one another here. 5 police officers beat that guy to death. Then you turn around, you had a black police officer to die the other day from killing another black guy, and he shot the officer in the head. He died day before yesterday. Did you hear about that?
This just happened. Do you think retaliation in terms of Tyre Nichols?
It was. It played a part in it. And before this is over, I talked to one of the guys in the inner city, couple of gang members from the inner city that says that they're gonna shock the city.
Yeah. One thing I was driving by, like I noticed the city it's like dead silence. Is so quiet. I thought it was more alive to the city. It's just like empty and desolate, abandoned. Seems like
after this happened, this city has become a dead zone actually.
Yeah, because this is we're the lunchtime weekday on a Monday.
It should be. Yeah, but people are afraid because people know this is not over with. Okay.
Yeah.
The people in this city are beginning to get tired of the senseless beatings, killings. I mean, it's all over the city now, and there's going to be a big uproar this weekend. Well, I should never said this, but they're gonna rock this city. Gang members, I was told that they're gonna rock the city this weekend.
Like a huge protest, like George Floyd style.
Very huge.
Yeah.
Very huge.
Yeah.
So they're trying to catch the officials off guard, so they won't know that it's finna happen. They won't get time enough to get the National Guards in here and so on and so on. It's really gonna be tough, guy.
Okay. Just in terms of general, not just in terms of Tyre Nichols. What do you think is number one issue between policing and between civilians in America? What do you think is the number one issue?
The number one issue to me is that they don't care about people as humans, not as a race of people, but as human beings. And then the South is still kind of under the, not slavery, but keeping another race of people down. The rich people in this city are only trying to capitalize off of the poor.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they keep them suppressed. They keep them depressed. They keep them stressed out. So that all the retaliation is on the people that's going through the trials and tribulations. That's where all the stress is going to, and they taking it out on one another. So what's going to have to be done? Somebody has to come in here, and somebody's going to have to take over this city to build this city back to where it's supposed to be.
What?
This was a senseless killing. Martin Luther King. The man sit on top of that fire station and shot and killed Martin Luther King here.
Yeah.
And the city allowed that to take place. See, they allowed it. He could have been killed in any city in this United States.
Yeah.
They chose Memphis.
Yeah, I also noticed as I was driving down, if you compare to like the northern states like New York, Massachusetts, it's much more like high tech, more advanced. When you come down here, I think it's like really underdeveloped. It's like 30 years behind.
Yeah,
but I'm sure you know what I mean, right? If you go to like New York, Boston, Chicago, it's like 30 years ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These people, this city has been shut down, and they are so far behind to whereas people are still cashing checks at liquor stores. Whether they do that at.
Oh, they still do that here?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Whether they do that,
Yeah.
you know, people are going to advanced stages of where they are being deposited into accounts. Now they're still cashing checks at liquor stores, on corner stores.
Yeah,
People are still standing on corner stores and doing things of that nature. You know?
What do you hope just in the near future, the number one policy change like the government can make to help with the entire situation?
That they will help people that are in poverty start to build themselves to get back to society where they can get jobs and start beginning to be able to take care of families.
Everybody's feeling the pinch with the inflation crisis since starting of 2022.
What are we going to do?
Well, every time I go to the grocery store, it's like up 10%, and then you go back 2 weeks later, up 10%.
Again.
Yeah, and unless I would say you're the top 1%, like everybody, maybe not so extreme, but like to some extent, everybody's feeling the pinch. It's terrible,
they
man.
Are.
Like I can't believe like where the world's gonna go. Like I'm coming from Canada, so
oh really?
I can tell you right now. So I'm coming from Ottawa, the capital. So Toronto's the Canada's largest city. Right now, the average rent for one bedroom apartment. This is the average, not fancy. It's in Canadian dollars is $2,565. Converted to US dollars is almost $2,000. Around $1,900 a month. That's average.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, and I tell people, I said, what do you want people to do in the future? Yeah, like it's and I agree with your point. Right now there's so much unnecessary hate like in our society, like the same thing. I would say it's worse in the US, like coming from Canada.
It is.
It's maybe not as bad, but to a certain extent, and for absolutely no reason. And I tell people that those people are activists. Same thing with like the people who say like we should kill like all the gays and all LGBTQ. I'm like, these people have nothing to do with you. Like, why is there so much unnecessary hate?
And I was listening to a video the other day, and it was a white rapper, and he was saying, why are you taking these things out on me? I have nothing to do with what happened with my ancestors and what they did to people. Don't take it out on me.
Yeah, I know. Even that's why, like, one of the reasons why I've stayed away from my dad, like, for many. I haven't talked to him in many years. He has some serious issues. So, like, my background is Chinese. My dad is Chinese, right? I told him, I'm like, thank God, like, he barely speaks English. I'm like, if he actually speak English, he would have been shot many years ago. Because he used to be a truck driver. He's retired now. He's been to 48 out of 50 states, like, driving trucks. Yeah. I've never been to Alaska or Hawaii. Like, the stuff he says, like, he'll just walk around. Like, to two people that I hate the most, I have to be brutally honest, right? If you're black or if you're LGBTQ. Sometimes I will go and we walk into like a 7-Eleven when I travel to the States with him. He will just walk in and say like N-word, like in Chinese, right? Yeah. And you see, oh, look at all these like ugly, like low IQ monkeys. It's like, why don't we just kill them all? It's like, why don't we put them in gas chamber like what Hitler did with the Jews? Yeah. He says the same thing. He sees gay people and he's like, oh, why don't we just murder them all? Like drop the bomb on them, man.
They're just people.
Absolute hate for no reason. And the worst thing about it is like every time I confront him, he's like, oh, like I'm not racist. He's like, oh, that's BS. And the thing is, he hides it, right? Like, cause sometimes he interacts with like people of color. Like my stepmom, she's also Chinese, and she had this colleague. Sometimes he would come over visit for dinner, right? He sees him. He's like, his name is Edwin. He's like black Latino, speaks Spanish. He's like, oh, Edwin, my friend. Like, I'm so happy to see you. He hugs him and stuff. As soon as he leaves, just N-word. Like, the people, there's so much nasty, so much hate out of like absolutely no reason. Because I was born in like a tiny little subdivision. People think like everybody from China is in the big city, but That's not true, right? Because they have small villages also. I was in the subdivision of like 30,000 people, very small place.
Right.
Like everybody was like Chinese, right? So I only knew 2 people growing up. There was like one guy from Jamaica. He transferred to be English teacher. Imagine that, a Jamaican guy teaching Chinese people English. And there was one transfer student from Korea. So I only knew 2 people that was not Chinese. So I don't know why he got this huge hate against people who are colored, against people who are LGBTQ. It's a really sad situation. Sometimes I understand when people say, oh, they're like, you're making this stuff up. Like, why are you so angry? Why are you protesting? Because there's a lot of unnecessary hate.
It is.
It's unbelievable, and I can't change it.
For no reason.
And same with my dad. It's not like he had this like encounter with like freaking like gang members or something from the colored community that like he was brutally beaten up. Like nothing's ever happened.
Right, but
just for absolutely no reason.
I don't know.
It's a very sad.
It's bad. It's sad.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Actually, that was a very heartfelt conversation.
Thank you so much.
I don't have much cash, but I'll give you something more. What's your name?
Michael.
Michael? I'm David.
David. Okay,
Coming from this might be my only visit to the city. I just want to check out like Tyre Nichols and the situation. But
David, thank you.
Try to help you out a little bit because I'm a student as well. But I gotta save a little bit of cash for myself here. I'll give you this 20.
Wow, David. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Be blessed. Thank you so much.
Hopefully things will be better.